Team India have registered a 6-wicket win across at the Kotla, thereby completing their mission whitewash against the visiting Aussies, completely outplaying them in all departments of the game. And ironically, you have to say, Mahendra Singh Dhoni once again finding himself in the center of all the actions, finishing the game off for India. Yes, a valiant fight back from the Aussies as well, picking up quick wickets towards the end, but it wasn't going to be enough because Pujara scoring 82 of 92 deliveries on a very tricky, on a very difficult wicket ensured that India sailed home easily, making no contest out of this paltry target of 155 runs. And remember, India completing a victory against Australia in the third session of the third day. So they've got 2 full days of cricket still to go, and they've been able to register this win. Even if you question the conditions, they were similar for both teams. India, in fact, losing the toss, using everything else to their advantage. The Indian spinners certainly putting the team in this winning position. Former India cricketer Nikhil Chopra, Headlines Race cricket expert, now joins us on the show. Nikhil, 4-0, the best ever performance that India has been able to accomplish to reclaim the Border Gavaskar trophy.
Incredible. I guess right from the word go, from the very first innings, from the very first ball, I think Mahendra Singh Dhoni and the rest of the team guys, they were hurting from that England loss. They wanted to go out there and do something special. With every innings, every test match, they just got better and they got ruthless, which is a good sign for Team India. And don't forget, this is a transition phase for Team India as well. There is no Virendra Sehwag in this side, there is no Gautam Gambhir in this side, no Dravid, no Lakshman. And we still went out and beat them 4-0. I think outstanding bit of cricket from the Indian side.
And for all those people who wrote obituaries of Indian cricket, the moment the likes of Saurav Ganguly, VVS Lakshman, Rahul Dravid hung up their boots, look at these youngsters, the likes of Virat Kohli, Murli Vijay, there's nothing you can say about Cheteshwar Pujara which will do justice to his reputation, to his performance, to his talent, the way he's performed in this particular series. And you look at the bowlers as well in the spinners. Ashwin, a big question mark over his performance at home against the English, which saw India lose that test series, coming out, picking up close to 30 wickets. Ravindra Jadeja drafted in only as, possibly a secondary spinner, as an additional spinner, for the kind of performance that he came up with. Pragyan Ojha, the limited opportunities he also got. Nikhil, the spinners, the batsmen, the youngsters, what a performance.
I think the opportunity is given to, you're absolutely right. Murli Vijay, he grabbed it with both hands. You talk about Ravindra Jadeja as one backup spinner, maybe, with Harbhajan Singh in the initial 2 test matches. But he's never looked back. He's probably looked more dangerous than anybody else. He's just stuck to his guns, his game plan, bowled terrific line and length. And the good thing is, even when the wicket was turning, he made sure that every single delivery Aditya was finishing within the stumps. The batsman missed, he was hitting. Incredible bit of bowling by Ravindra Jadeja.
Absolutely, and picking up his maiden 5-wicket haul in test match cricket as well. And when you look at the kind of conviction with which Cheteshwar Pujara, particularly in this innings, also came out to bat 80 odd, to get at the end of the day in trying circumstances. We've seen the Indian batting lineup on numerous occasions, Nikhil, in the past, sort of capitulate, not be able to handle that pressure so well, be 6 down, 7 down, and just cross over. Almost happened once again. Pujara standing firm, doing very well.
I guess Pujara, great temperament, incredible. I think he understands the situation. The role that's been given to him in the side, he's fulfills it with great amount of ease. One man who gets set 30s and 40s, he's got the art of going out there and converting. That makes a big difference. And we needed somebody like Pujara. I know it's a bit too early to compare, but he reminds you of the Dravid. You talk about going ahead in his game plan, the execution. Even when he's batting, if the difficult conditions, just by watching him sitting, even if you're sitting in the dressing room, you just feel that there's not too much happening. You can go out there and get runs, and that's how you want a number 3. In this particular test match, difficult conditions, he went out and opened, and to carry the bat through in this particular wicket, incredible effort.
Another fact that you must consider here, as Nikhil points out, that this is not his usual position. He doesn't open for Team India. Took on that role because he was entrusted with that and certainly delivered on both occasions as well. Associate editor Sundar Iyer has also been closely monitoring the numbers as far as this series is concerned. And Sundar, the one thing that certainly comes through is that the Indians, specifically the youngsters in this team, have done better than the Australians in every department. You saw the much fancied aggression from the Australians come forth, perhaps a little late, at the, one would imagine at the behest of Shane Watson from this new team. But India said, hang on, we are the superior team, we've done well. and the results show.
Well, absolutely, Aditya. This Indian team will give it back fight to fight, blow to blow there in the series. You've seen that. Yes, under Watson, we saw the Aussies employ their infamous sledging ways, trying to disintegrate the young Indian side. But we saw people like Jadeja, Virat Kohli, not one to cover away from a fight. They were there on the field. They knew they're the superior side, and they've gone out there, finished the job, giving a billion of us reasons to celebrate. 4-0 series victory, scripted largely by the youngsters. That's what makes this performance that much more special. To see Chiteshwar Pujara remain unbeaten in a tricky fourth innings chase on a crumbling wicket speaks volumes of his character, doesn't it? Fantastic effort, pushed up to open the innings in the absence of Dhawan, a regular opener there. Pujara has really done brilliantly in this test match, and to see off that chase, hats off to the youngster. Skipper Dhoni, he's led every bit from the front to get that. When we lost Sachin Tendulkar, Virat Kohli and Ajinkya Rahane, there were nerves in that Indian dressing room. But Skipper Dhoni, we know he's a fabulous finisher, and yet again we saw him remain calm there. Yes, there was an edge that Matthew Wade dropped off him, off Nathan Lyon, but he was ready to take the Indians home. Fantastic effort indeed. Vijay succeeding as an opener, Ashwin getting 29 wickets, Jadeja stamping his class as a valuable all-rounder, especially in spin-friendly subcontinent conditions. He got 24 wickets. He got a crucial 43 to come good with the willow last evening as well. So yes, all-round effort by the Indians. We can now safely, I'll just say, that the horrors of that debacle down under have been erased. The pain of that 4-0 series whitewash at Adelaide in January 2012 can now safely be written off in history, because the Indians have bounced back and they've scripted the perfect payback, making the Aussies remember what a nightmarish series they've had.
Now, the larger question certainly has to be whether this team, this new set of Dhoni's Devils, is good enough to reclaim that #1 spot. We'll talk about that a little later. But Nikhil, I must also bring your attention to the other fact that when you look at the performance of this Indian team, it's not about replacing the Virender Sehwags, the Gautam Gambhir. It is about creating not a sort of talented bunch of youngsters, but youngsters who have been bled in, who've had the experience of doing well, at least at home. Yes, their real test might be when they travel abroad and all of that, but the confidence which they will take from these performances will carry them through.
Oh, without a doubt. And I think you've got to give credit where it's due to the selectors also. The acid test, everybody knows when you go overseas, conditions are different. That's the acid test. But rather than getting some of these guys to debut in overseas conditions when you're playing 10 test matches at home, you need to have a future plan in place as well. You might as well give your youngsters an opportunity at home. You rightly said so. They grow in confidence after they get runs. Then you go out there and take on the world. But if your start is on a shaky note, you're not going to get too far. So I think even the selectors have done an outstanding job. And of course, I guess it's been a long time that we can say in a particular test series, all 11 have contributed in some manner or the other. I don't think anybody's had a bad series, which is a good sign for Team India.
Well, let's also connect with Arshad, a youth former India cricketer. Sir, your thoughts on this fantastic performance by the Indian team? First ever time we've been able to beat the Aussies 4-0, a whitewash here, perfect revenge as well.
I think, I've been looking forward to this day for a long time because, we have never done this before, I think, except against New Zealand, I think probably long time back when we had 3 test matches. Then again, this is for the home series, and I think it is a great feeling to see that, we can beat Australia, 4-0. And I feel that the team is in really well, in overall situation. If you look at batting, bowling,
yes,
I think we've got Jadeja coming through so well bowling now, and Chiteshwar Pujara coming through good, and Shikhar Dhawan coming through good. I think it's a good learning experience for the youngsters, and when they go out, I think probably this is going to really help them, when they gain the confidence at home, and when they visit outside. This is going to be a great. This has been a great series for India as far as not only the results, but as far as the players who are on pitch, and they actually have done really well now. I think we can look forward to, and the bench strength has really grown now.
Absolutely, the bench strength has grown, and they'll take a lot of confidence from these performances, these winning performances at home. In fact, pictures of that winning moment as well, the last runs which were knocked off by, it has to be said, Mahendra Singh Dhoni, who's been making a habit of it, Nikhil. getting the winning runs on every occasion possible. You can see the jubilation, the sheer happiness which is reflected on seniors, on youngsters alike in that team. Family members also watching on proudly how this Indian team has literally demolished the visiting Australians. There will be critics who say, well, this wasn't the best Australian team. It was wrought with internal issues. Shane Watson, of course, an interim captain taking over. But the Indians played their part. They did everything that was expected of them. In fact, fans also joining us now from across the country. Let's connect with Sameer Dixit. He's got some fans in Mumbai with him. Sameer, a fantastic win for Team India, and of course, one that will be celebrated across the length and breadth of the country.
Well, of course, this is cheer and happiness throughout the country. But in Mumbai, as we talk to friends, they believe that this is not just a whitewash. This is not just happiness, but a miracle. Let's hear it from the fans. What would you like to say in this,
Mr. Farooq? ये बहुत अच्छा है और ये जीत नहीं एक जादूगर है हमारे लिए, हमारे देश के लिए बहुत बड़ी बात है और हमारे आजकल धोनी जी और बहुत बेहतरीन प्रदर्शन करे, हमारे लिए बहुत खुशनसीबी की बात है.
This is not just a win, but it's a miracle. आप क्या कहेंगे?
ये धोनी की सेना ने आज बहुत कमाल कर दिया और कांगारू को धूल चटवा दी. आज की कोई बात मत करो, आज ऐसा माहौल करो कि ठोको ताली आज उसके दिन और इतनी मजा करो. आज इंडिया जीत गया, जश्न की दिन है आज. इंडिया 4 से जीत गई, 4 से जीत गया इंडिया 4-0.
Well, as you can hear it from France, they are sure that they are going to celebrate. Celebration is the only outcome of this whitewash. A historic win, well, of course, for India, but the fans, they are too enthusiastically, they are replying that it is just not a win, but it's a miracle, and they all are going to celebrate in their own mood, in their own style.
Well, what a way to reclaim the Border Gavaskar Trophy for Team India, doing so fantastically well. We have to talk about Mahendra Singh Dhoni as well. The kind of composure that he always shows, the kind of performances he's put on display with the bat as well. But before we do that, Nikhil, in contrast, Shane Watson, a guy who is virtually sent back home for not, in his own words, doing his own work, then comes back, he's asked to captain his side. Of course, a difficult job, yes, but how do you see his performance in this match?
Well, without a doubt, it was very difficult. You're 3-0 down in the series, the last test match, there's nothing for you. Literally, you're playing for pride on a difficult wicket. He got some character back, I'll give him that, in at least in this test match. But I guess this last innings, there could have been a lot more interesting. With the kind of field setting, Pattinson got you 5 wickets. Your medium paces on a variable bounce on a wicket like that with airspeed 145 plus. You could have started with Nathan Leon maybe, but one end you could have held up with the medium paces, and even with the field, 150 or to chase. If you let go of the boundaries, you're playing in the hands of the opposition. You allow an into outfield, block the boundaries, make sure, say, well, if you're going to get 150, I'm going to make you bat 50 odd overs or 45 overs or maybe 60 odd overs. I'm going to make that job of yours a lot more difficult. Then when you force the batsman to bat for that much longer, there are opportunities that come on a wicket like that. I don't think I saw some innovative captaincy from Shane Watson. He just allowed the game to drift away, and whenever the Indian batsman got out, I guess the Australians came back into the game.
But it was never perhaps going to be a competition when you pitted Australian spinners against Indian spinners in that sense, is what Nikhil is also saying, because Indian spinners, of course, are brought up on these conditions, and the performances also are evident in the result. But we're also opening up our phone lines. Our viewers can call in, express their opinion about whether this current set, this Dhoni's new Devils, can help achieve that #1 spot once again, can help reclaim that #1 spot in the test rankings that India was able to achieve under Gary Kirsten, and of course Mahendra Singh Dhoni as well. From India cricketer Chetan Chauhan also joining us. Sir, your thoughts on this fantastic win, a series whitewashed by India against the Australians. You've travelled with the Indian team across on Australian tours in the past. You know just what it means for this team to do so well against this particular opponent.
Well, see, they played a few practice games and their performance was not the best. In fact, they lost the practice games, and it appeared as if that this Australian side was not a formidable side. It was not as strong as the other Australian teams which had toured India, and that is what ultimately turned out to be. In the first test match, they tried their best, reached around 400 runs, but then the Indians took over, and once the Indians took over and beat them in the first test match, I think their confidence was shattered, and they realized that they could not beat the Indian side. And then the momentum came with the Indian side, and they do not look back.
Absolutely. Momentum always plays a crucial role. Chetan Chauhan, thanks very much, sir, for joining us. Former India captain, head and Swiss cricket expert, Saurav Ganguly now also joining us on the program. Dada, your first thoughts? This is mission accomplished exactly the way Mahendra Singh Dhoni would have dreamt of rather, and just the way the job should have been done.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's a terrific victory. Winning 4 out of 4 test matches in a test series is special, and I think congratulations to everyone, the entire team, Dhoni, his 14 members and everyone. It's a terrific win.
And even Dada, when we say it, that India was whitewashed in Australia, let's just dish out the same treatment. There's a bit of skepticism which always creeps in. I know you've been with this lot, you've seen this team grow and develop. Of course, kind of confidence you have in this team is very different. But there's always a little bit of doubt. The Australians are also a quality team. But to be able to deliver on that promise, to do it so well, especially with the youngsters coming through as well, lots of positives.
Yeah, absolutely. As I said, winning 4-0, winning 4 out of 4 test matches in a series is special. And whatever is the team, whoever you're playing, it doesn't matter whether Australia are strong or weak. It's immaterial. Let's give credit to India for winning 4 games in a row.
And certainly you're impressed with the Indian spinners as well. I know that cricketers in this day and age get branded T20 cricketers or ODI specialists very quickly. Ravindra Jadeja proving, Shikhar Dhawan proving that a quality cricketer will do well in any format.
Yeah, we've been saying that all the while, that if you're a good player, you do well in all formats of the game. And I thought both did superbly, both Jadeja and Shikhar Dhawan and a lot of other players, Murli Vijay, Ravichandran Ashwin. Chiteshwar Pujara, I think, was special. I think his knock today was outstanding. It was as if that he played on a different wicket. So I think there's been a lot of positives from this series, and hopefully they can carry on.
Dada's going to join us on plenty of shows a little later in the day as well. But last word to you, Saurav Ganguly, you think in your assessment, this has yes been a complete performance by this team, but anything that you want to see changing as well? Because at the end of the day, it's about improving. It's about perhaps trying to build a team which will be able to reclaim that #1 spot.
Yeah, that will happen with due course. Let's not get so far yet. Let's enjoy this win, and hopefully they can get better from here.
Alright, Dada, thanks so much for joining us. We look forward to having you on the shows a little later, making that point about how it should be a step-by-step process for Team India to build a squad, not just a team of 11, but a squad of 15, 16 players which can deliver at any possible chance. And Nikhil, I mean, that's the other thing, that the real test perhaps, yes, will come when you tour Australia, when you tour England, South Africa. But it's about temperament as well. It's about not having youngsters who've performed well in the domestic circuit, but youngsters who performed well in international matches, who have that confidence to, back their own ability.
It makes a world of a difference. When you're playing for your country, you do well at home, and then you look to go out there and play against the overseas side, the opposition. I know it gets very difficult with the kind of pace and bounce, but I guess from here on in, Aditya, I think there's a conscious effort by the BCCI as well. You probably have more India A tours, and you'll have some of these guys touring on those, India A tours, just to get acclimatized to kind of conditions where you probably go out there in the next 8-9 months, just to make sure that the guys who are going to be part of that Indian think tank or the Indian team at that moment in time should at least go and play a couple of games beforehand and see how things are. And also in terms of preparations, you must have plenty of tour games when you go overseas. I think that's one area where we've lacked. We've just taken on the itinerary as it comes to us, but you must play a couple of more tour games when you're overseas, especially when you're going through this transition phase. Because this Indian team, you'll have a lot of these youngsters who will be touring South Africa, Australia, England for the first time as well. So in that regard, you must have enough tour games.
Alright, certainly you need to take that time to get acclimatized, get used to overseas conditions, get the basics going, and then of course do what you know best. Shivani Gupta has been tracked the very latest as well, now joins us for live input. Shivani, overall, India is certainly the better team in this contest. There were plenty of internal issues that the Australian team was also, battling with. But credit to them as well in this last test match for making a match of it. Yes, we've had a result in 3 days, but a much better fight certainly from the Aussies too.
Yes, it looks very different right now because they've lost in 3 days, which is really, really rare. But even on the second day, yesterday, Australia perhaps sniffed that they have some sort of an opportunity in this test match. They could have created a winning opportunity for them, but all went, downhill because on this pitch, as Saurav Ganguly, our expert, had also said through the day, it was so difficult to bat. It was difficult to bat for India too, and it was ominous signs for them that if they bat in their second innings and do not put up a big score, then they will lose quickly and will lose very, very badly. But yes, in this test match, like I said, perhaps the only sniff at some sort of a good opportunity for them, and they pounced on it. Yesterday we saw all the Australians really going at it, playing mind games on the field, which is how we know the Australians to play.
Yes.
So far in the series, they hadn't really shown that side. That's because India had dominated so badly over them. But yes, they will be disappointed by this effort. It is a side in transition, much like India's. It is a side with a lot of young players who'd never played in India before, and it's tough conditions for them. But even then, to lose 4 test matches out of 4 test matches, lose all of them so badly, not really have any outstanding performances except for 1 or 2 here and there that didn't really convert to be big performances, they will be really, really disappointed. And of course, all that happened behind scenes and in the dressing room as well during this series, there'll be a lot of fallouts for this series.
Certainly at this stage, when you look at the two sides in comparison, the Indians completely outplaying the Australians in all departments. Our phone lines are open. The phones have been ringing off the hook. Let's connect with our first caller from Delhi. Nina, go ahead. Your thoughts on this victory?
At the outset, I would like to say thanks to media and especially headlines today. Your unrelentless pursuit of excellence and pressure on the players has brought about this change in Dhoni, and our youth has shown what really they can do for the country. 4 test matches in a row, hats off to them. This pressure should be kept on, and also more of matches between interstate and inter-colleges to get more talent. I think that's what we need now.
Thanks very much, Meena, for joining us. But certainly, we can't take credit for this win. Yes, we like to talk about just what's going wrong with the team every time they don't do well. But certainly this team has practiced. They've been together. They've gelled as a unit. And Nikhil will also attest to the fact that it takes a lot, because they face constant pressure, constant scrutiny. Every man in India is perhaps a cricket expert. Everyone has an opinion, and Mahendra Singh Dhoni realized that as well. His job was on the line too, but took on this challenge, Nikhil, and said, we have to take out the positives from this.
It's not easy when you lose, 8 test matches. When you're overseas, you come back, you lose against England at home. It's never easy as captain, especially when you don't have Dravid, Lakshman in your ranks, Saurav Ganguly in your ranks, Virendra Sehwag, now that Gautam Gambhir. You going through this transition phase. Team Australia, comes to India. Of course, you're going to have just more than butterflies in your stomach, but hats off to the way how he's handled this Team India. He's been able to go out there and build his own size. Got a couple of medium pacers. We can sort out our injury problem with the medium pacers as well. Absolutely. I think we can go out there and take on the world in overseas conditions as well. I think this team is good enough, equipped well enough. They play to potential. That now is the time we should be targeting to go overseas and be a little more competitive overseas.
I'll talk about some specific numbers also with Nikhil, just in contrast how the Indians and Australians have done. But let's also connect with the caller from Bhopal. बताइए क्या कहना चाहते हैं आप इंडिया की इतनी जबरदस्त जीत के बारे में?
सर मैं ये कहना चाहता हूँ कि पहले तो कांग्रेचुलेशन है धोनी को और सभी देशवासियों को, और मैं ये कहना चाहता हूँ कि हम बात करते हैं कि हम विदेश में जाके कैसा खेलेंगे, और मैं ये पूछना चाहता हूँ बीसीसीआई से कि उन्होंने पूरा सीजन बिता दिया, इंडिया ए टीम ने ना तो अफ्रीका का दौरा किया ना ऑस्ट्रेलिया का दौरा किया, फिर कैसे हम कैसे प्रिपरेशन करेंगे? आपकी प्रायोरिटी क्या है? आपकी रणजी ट्रॉफी प्रायोरिटी कि इंडियन नेशनल टीम? तो जब आप इंडियन ए टीम को जब सीजन होता है तो आप भेजते नहीं है, और बाद में भेजते तब 2 मैच आप स्ट्रगल करते, तीसरे चौथे मैच में जाके आप फॉर्म आते तब तक बहुत देर हो चुकी होती है.
बहुत जरूरी पॉइंट उठाया विपिन ने, but the point that perhaps he's trying to make as well is that when you have the opportunity, I mean, it's easy for the wins to sort of cloak over the problems that you have in Indian cricket as well, Nikhil, and that's something that perhaps the BCCI can also consider. Make it more overseas tours, prepare wickets, practice pitches in India as well, which will give your batsmen, your bowlers that kind of exposure to travel overseas. Because when you have fantastic performances like this at home, it tends to sort of cover up the chinks in the armour.
Well, without a doubt, if we get more sporting tracks, it'll of course help. The level of cricket in India itself will go up if you have more sporting tracks, even in domestic cricket. But the point also that he made, that we must have more India A tours, I think that is a very, very valid point, and I'm sure the board has already thought about this, and they've taken some decisions from here on in 2013 onwards. We'll see plenty of India A tours, so that our youth brigade, at least is ready to go out there and take on the world with enormous amount of experience. And you've got to go out there and throw them in the deep end. With the kind of tracks that we've got here, it gets very difficult. It's literally you asking them to go out there, play well in conditions that they've never been able to go out there and see for the first time round. So, it'll be a little unfair to them also. So plenty of A tours. I think the board's already taken that decision and they'll go forward with it.
It is about basic exposure as well, which of course the Indian cricketers also expect. But let's go across live now to the Feroz Shah Kotla. My colleague Shumon Ray joining us. He's got a huge set of excited, happy, jubilant fans also with him. Shumon, take it away. Of course, a fantastic day for Indian cricket.
Absolutely fantastic. With me are the lovely fans over here, all colourful, and you can see the kind of smiles there. 3 days, just 3 days, India has won it. आपके बाकी 2 दिन के टिकट्स तो बेकार चला गया.
Actually मेरे भैया ने 800 रुपए की टिकट खरीदी थी, वो पूरी रेस चली गई. लेकिन हम बहुत खुश हैं, 4-0 से इंडिया जीती है. Clean sweep.
Okay. Clean sweep और whitewash. All right. ऑस्ट्रेलिया ने हमें इंडिया को ऑस्ट्रेलिया में दिया था डाउन अंडर. It's a fitting revenge now taken, and in just 3 days, how happy are you?
I am very happy. Awesome day of Test cricket. I enjoyed a lot. इंडिया ने ऑस्ट्रेलिया को 4-0 से हरा के बता दिया कि इंडिया एक महाशक्ति है टेस्ट क्रिकेट में. इंडिया में
इंडिया ने
clean sweep, Mahashakti, which is a power, cricket power, and also most of them believe that India has not only won the series against Australia, but on its course to become, on its way to become the #1 in test ranking. So already the world champions in ODI, now on course to become world #1 in test cricket as well.
Well, certainly, they are assured of a #3 ranking with this victory. The series clean sweep. If New Zealand were to go on and beat England, they possibly will become #2 as well in the pecking order. So certainly it's on the way up for Team India. Let's just hope this momentum can be carried forward. Thanks very much, Shumon, for joining us.